Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking some seriously dense legislation and turning it into actionable knowledge for you. We are unpacking the Philippine Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. If you've ever wondered how the law actually views your digital footprint, the text messages you send or the websites you host, well, you're definitely in the right place. Okay, let's dive right in and look at the source itself. Republic Act No. 1075. This was signed into law on September 12, 2012, specifically to police the country's incredibly vulnerable and rapidly expanding internet landscape. It's essentially the foundational text for how the Philippines handles digital misdeeds, basically transforming the Wild West of the internet into a heavily regulated space. To navigate this hefty 26-page document, we're going to break it down into 5 key areas. First, the Cybercrime Prevention Act itself. Then, key digital definitions. Third, punishable cyber offenses. Fourth, penalties and corporate liabilities. And finally, law enforcement and investigations. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Cybercrime Prevention Act, and how it protects the digital realm. Right out of the gate, the law establishes that the state absolutely must protect and safeguard the integrity of our digital networks from misuse. So what does this all mean? Well, it essentially provides a massive legal shield against illegal online conduct. It's the government formally declaring that your digital property and data matter just as much as your physical property. Moving on to Section 2, key digital definitions, or as I like to call it, knowing the digital jargon. Getting a grip on this jargon is absolutely crucial, because the law uses very specific terminology. For instance, a computer system isn't just your standard desktop sitting in an office. Under the law, it covers literally any device capable of processing data. That means your mobile phone, your tablet, and even your smartwatch are fully subject to these rules. The net is casting incredibly wide here. Now, here's a really interesting distinction that law enforcement makes between 2 types of data. First, you have content data. That's the actual message you send, like the words in an email or a picture you post online. Traffic data, on the other hand, is merely the metadata. We're talking routing, origin, time, and size. This distinction is huge because it dictates exactly how authorities can legally track you. And we absolutely cannot forget interception. The Act defines this as listening to, recording, or monitoring the contents of a communication without authority. And note this, it even includes doing so through indirect electronic eavesdropping. So if someone is tapping into your data flow without legal authority, they are crossing a major legal line. Which brings us to Section 3, punishable cyber offenses. Let's look at what happens when you cross that legal line. The crucial takeaway here is that Section 4 of the Act logically groups cybercrimes into 3 main umbrellas to cover the whole shebang, from hacking to illegal content. You've got offenses against confidentiality and integrity, like hacking a system. You have computer-related offenses, like digital fraud, and you have content-related offenses, which focus on the actual media and text you publish. Let's look at a specific example. Under that first umbrella, we see crimes like cybersquatting. This happens when bad actors acquire a domain name resembling an existing trademark or a person's name purely to profit off it, mislead the public, or completely destroy someone's reputation. It's essentially digital real estate theft, and it's highly illegal. Another major computer-related offense you hear about all the time is identity theft. The law makes the intentional acquisition, use, transfer, or alteration of someone's identifying information completely illegal if it's done without right. Basically, this is the legal provision that protects your digital persona from being hijacked. For content-related offenses, the law does something really notable. It integrates the revised Penal Code's definition of libel, but adapts it to penalize unlawful acts committed through a computer system. Yes, you heard that right. Your tweets, your social media posts, and your comments carry the exact same legal weight as a printed newspaper article. Crazy, right? Now that we know the crimes, let's move to Section 4. Penalties and corporate liabilities. Let's talk about the real digital stakes. I'm telling you, the law really doesn't hold back. If an offender targets critical infrastructure, think power grids, national security databases, or big financial networks, the stakes skyrocket. It carries the severe penalty of reclusion temporal, which means some serious prison time, or massive fines that match the maximum amount commensurate to the damage incurred. And this perfectly illustrates that corporations aren't safe from this either. If a business benefits from a cybercrime just because of a lack of supervision by its leadership, that corporation can face fines up to a staggering 10 million pesos. Turning a blind eye to digital misconduct in your company is literally going to cost you. Finally, how do the perpetrators actually get caught? Let's uncover this in our fifth and final section, law enforcement and investigations, tracking the digital footprint. To enforce all of this, the Act formally mandates that the National Bureau of Investigation, the NBI, and the Philippine National Police, the PNP, organize dedicated specialized cybercrime divisions. These units are manned by special investigators whose exclusive job is to handle these high-tech violations. Now, when these authorities actually get a warrant, they don't just kick down your door and randomly grab your laptop. They have to follow strict procedural steps. First, they search and seize the data. Then, they secure the system. After that, they must retain a forensic copy to protect the integrity of the evidence. And finally, they render the original data completely inaccessible. This whole process builds a very strict legal timeline. Service providers are required to preserve traffic and subscriber data for a minimum of 6 months. And once police examine seized data under a warrant, the clock is ticking. They have just 48 hours to deposit it to the court in a sealed package. If they need an extension, the court grants a maximum of 30 days. So there's no endless holding of your digital life. But wait, there's a massive, vital safeguard here known as the exclusionary rule. The law clearly dictates that any digital evidence procured without a valid warrant or beyond legal authority is completely inadmissible in court. If authorities break the rules to get the data, that evidence is thrown out entirely. So we've explored the rules, the specific crimes, those massive penalties, and the strict enforcement mechanics of the Cybercrime Prevention Act. It all boils down to this. If every click, message, and digital footprint is regulated by such a powerful legal framework, are you truly aware of the legal weight of your digital life? Seriously, are you watching your step online? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.